just watching Scott Pilgrim be like cringe and awkward and like kind of a loser character the entire time was very entertaining.
Slacker.
A slacker, right? Exactly. Welcome to episode 53 of the Amb Ant Podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Amber.
And we're back to talk about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the Netflix adaptation.
You go.
Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Is that right?
Should I say it again? I don't know how right my
yes.
intonation would be, but it is Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Yes.
Okay. Seems right. Please subscribe to the channel for the YouTube algorithm.
Indeed.
All right. We watched this because it was recommended to me on Netflix. It looked pretty good. And Scott Pilgrim was, actually, wait, did it look good?
I don't know. You just clicked on it without me. I was already half asleep when you started, clicking on it. So then it turned out to be very, very good.
Oh. So, what is Scott Pilgrim about?
I will read whatever is said on the wiki. I also want to say that, it's not what is Scott Pilgrim about, it's what Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is about, right? I want to, make that clarifying statement. Because, even though I've never heard of Scott Pilgrim in any kind of media form, you have experience with it. Right?
Right, yeah. There's actually a big twist in this one that was extremely unexpected.
Speaking of big twist, we're going to spoil.
Right, so spoilers ahead, of course.
So this version of it is very different from the original comics and also very different from is it a movie or is it a series?
Right, so it was a comic series, and then it was a television series, and then it was it was a movie. It was a couple of video games. I played them as well, watched the movie back then, and finally it's now an anime, so it's pretty crazy.
Speaking of anime, do you think that this is an anime, or is it a cartoon for you?
This feels more like an anime for me.
How do you differentiate? Draw the line.
Well, I kind of spoiled myself because I essentially started looking up the wiki.
Oh, well, I'm currently on the wiki too.
Right, so apparently the author wanted to, always wanted to write shonen comics or something. And then it is published by Oni Press. So then that makes me think that they tried very hard to make it anime style. So then,
Oni
but
Press?
it is not.
Wouldn't that be? Anyways, I mean,
I'm
I don't
not sure.
know. Yeah,
I'm not sure yet, but country of origin: United States, Japan. I don't know.
Oh God! Now I want to simultaneously ask you about: do you think that this is what you deem as shonen? And also I wanted to just go with the describing what happened in the first 3 episodes. What do you want to do first?
I guess we could just continue with the is it anime or is it not?
Is it anime? And specifically because you just mentioned that, is it shonen? Because I do think that shonen manga and anime is a very distinct story. It has a very distinct story structure, and it has just a long tradition of how it should be. As much as I can say oh, this is new age shonen anime, if it's not even made by, oh God, I shouldn't say it's not made by a Japanese person. How can you say it like that? Yeah, do you think that this qualifies in your criteria?
So they tried to make it kind of anime-esque, and then they I don't know, they call it that, but then I'm not sure if it qualifies as like a Japanese anime. It's more of like, I guess it's like an American anime copying the Japanese anime style. More like.
It's interesting because like I feel like when we're talking about like Japanese anime, we don't really have a unifying style. It's like, for example, like Kill la Kill, like Kill la Kill. Sorry, like people call it Kill la Kill, but in the fan base, like there are things with very distinct styles. Like anything made by Shaft Studio, like it has a very distinct style. So then,
right, Kill la Kill felt cartoony a little bit, right?
Exactly, and then like Mob Psycho, even it looks very different from most of the anime that we think of. But then, like once we kind of extend our perspective, like outside of Japan, all of a sudden it kind of has to like adhere to the very like stereotypical anime for us to consider it as anime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So if it's not adhering to like the stereotypical anime, then
it almost feels like, wait, it's not that the categorization matters, but I do think like after you said that, like, is it shonen? Because I do think that shonen is more of a genre rather than just a style. It's kind of like, does it have that kind of hero's journey that we typically see of like it almost like Bildungsroman, like this young boy is on a quest to become the best, whatever kind of thing, or like accomplish a goal. Like, what do you think about that?
That also brings up like another point is that recently shonen hasn't been shonen. So, you know, that's another topic, right? Where like you have these like new shonens. The main character is no longer like a young boy even. So maybe like the main character can be a girl now, or like the main character can be just like a crybaby, like can't do anything.
Okay, I just want to clarify. Crybabies are not that recent of a trend. Like, Katekyo Hitman Reborn, the main character is a crybaby. And I'm just saying.
Right, I mean, let's think of a few examples here. Maybe, top of head, I think, what would be considered a shonen? I don't know what would be, but basically I noticed a shift away from like the traditional shonen.
Yeah.
To like a new age shonen.
I definitely agree.
So we got like My Hero and stuff like that. It's like,
which My Hero adheres pretty closely to what I expect of a shonen, because like, you know, in the very beginning it's like he's gonna be the number one hero. That is like the goal that is very clearly like defined. And then here is very interesting how, again, I've never consumed any kind of Scott Pilgrim content before this. The main character, who I guess, if it's like a shonen anime / manga, like I would assume that we're going to follow him to achieve his goal, which I think is to date, I cannot read names, Ramona Flowers? Is that how you read her name?
Right.
Yes. Okay. Like, if we're talking about like a stereotypical shonen, that is how it should be. It's like he's going to not kill, but like fight and beat all 7 of the evil exes.
7 of the evil exes, right?
And so like he can finally either like win her heart, quote unquote, or just like prove that he's better. And that's what I think like a very traditional shonen would be like. However, like to my surprise, like I just stopped seeing the main character, and I really wanted to hear his voice in like the Japanese dub, because I think he's voiced by Shimonohiro, which is Zenitsu's voice actor. And so I was kind of like, wait, like when do we see him again? But I'm not bothered by it.
Right, yeah. I'm a little bothered by it because I like Scott Pilgrim. Like, he's the reason why I like watched it. Like, I don't really care about the other characters. Like just watching Scott Pilgrim be like cringe and awkward and like kind of a loser character the entire time was very entertaining.
Slacker.
A slacker, right? Exactly. Shout out to Joey. But basically, it's just like now we don't have that. He basically dies first episode, and like
he doesn't die.
Right, but like it looks like he died because they hosted like a funeral or
The
something,
funeral
and then like
scene was great. I just
that was just so crazy. Like everything is just so crazy. Like it's so good, right? Like
I really liked it.
yeah, the quality is very high.
Yeah, all 3
So,
episodes were
yeah.
so good. Like
Yeah,
as someone who doesn't watch any cartoons other than like when I was a wee young child, I watched Danny Phantom. And like other than that, I don't.
which was pretty good.
Danny Phantom's so great. He is so hot. But
Oh
like,
my God.
but this, it's like it hits emotionally, even though it's not really like touching. Like it wouldn't make me cry, but I'm very
Yeah.
invested in all the characters. And
Yeah,
the thing that I like the most, and oh god, I just keep on thinking that like before us recording, I was so set to like talk about all the story like plot points, but then I'm just talking about, well, blabbering about my thoughts. The thing I like the most about the series is the exposition. Like, as someone who knows nothing about this coming into it, I just feel like the exposition was so natural. It trusted the audience. It didn't feel the need to talk about, oh, what is like that dream world that like people keep on like, you know, entering, have superpowers. Like it never had to explain that to me. There wasn't any even like expository kind of character being like, wait, what is that? It's like everything felt so almost realistic, even though it's kind of like magical realism, this kind of strange thing where like, oh yeah, they're living in actual like Canada, but then this girl is from actual New York, the like real world like cities that we know of. It felt very comfortable to just like enter this world and just kind of like agree with all the like strange and very absurdist kind of like magical elements of it.
yeah. I mean, I typically like how all the characters don't get hung up on like the small stuff, and like they just kind of roll with it, like as if it's a natural thing. So like when Ramona is like explaining the subspace and stuff like that, she's like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, okay. And
Yeah,
they just kind of
exactly.
the snarky comments and stuff like that. It's like, it's good. It's very natural.
Honestly, the natural, quote unquote natural / like realistic reaction of a person when they hear of the is it subspace or what is it? Like the dream is like
Subspace. Wait.
I didn't know, but like I'll just trust you.
Subspace highway?
I think so. Yeah, something about a highway. Sounds right. The quote-unquote realistic response would be like, what the heck? Do you need help? Like mental help? But then like,
Right.
what is shown here, I guess it is unnatural, but then isn't like a person like, wait, what is that? We cut to an explanation of what is the mechanics of
right.
this subspace highway.
And then we go flashback time.
Oh, the first time I encountered the subspace highway is when I was 12 years old.
Right.
Like, there isn't any of that, and it feels so nice.
Yeah. You just cut straight to it. So you just continue watching it. Whereas like sometimes when it cuts to that, it instantly just like loses your attention. You do something else.
As much as that, like, I enjoy like hard sci-fi sometimes, like explaining things and being like, oh yeah, everything makes sense. Like that's interesting, but then this just feels so comfortable. I feel like using the word natural isn't really right. It feels so comfortable. Like this world is so well lived in, and even like the character of Scott, we barely saw him. We only saw him in like
basically the first episode.
Of the first episode. But I almost like know exactly who he is.
Right.
He didn't have to.
Yeah, based off of, like what you saw so far and like what people are saying about him.
It just hit the ground running. Like he is doing things, and as he is like going about with his mundane life, quote unquote mundane.
He doesn't do anything. He doesn't actually do anything all day.
But then he did. Like, I mean, like he had.
He's a slacker.
Or is he still having? I don't know, a underage girlfriend. You know,
he's an extreme slacker.
But then there are just things like that you just kind of like, oh, I kind of get how his character is, and then like people's reaction to him is kind of like more nuanced, like how people feel about him, and that just makes it feel so good.
Right. Like he had an ex-girlfriend who was like the barista, right? And then she was like talking about her experience. Was it the barista?
Before that, there's a diva, like a.
Oh yeah, the diva as well, Envy Adams. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Envy Adams was hilarious. I did not expect that actually at all. But yeah.
Did she appear back in the day?
I don't think so. I actually think like there's a lot of new characters here as well, and then also. Okay, well, back to the storyline. Like, he was supposed to win against Sahil Patel. Like, Matthew Patel.
Well, he didn't lose either.
He was supposed to win. There was... It was so weird. Like, I was thinking, I was like... Won. Yeah, so they introduced him as, like, the strongest fighter. Like, remember? Like, the beginning?
Yeah, about that. I also really liked how... It's kind of like a throwaway line that he's the strongest fighter.
Right.
It's not like people are hung up on like anything like that, and it feels so good.
Yeah.
It's not like, why did he lose? He was supposed to be the strongest fighter. How did this happen? Like, you could have, used that approach, which would kind of like emphasize that fact. But then, it's so like just refreshing to see like, oh, people like introduce that as in like information, but then it's like, well, this is a different kind of storyline. I don't know if it's like an alternative universe or anything. We understand that, and then we just keep on going.
Yeah, right. So they just like they expect you to remember what happened like 5 seconds ago. So like essentially, oh, he's the strongest fighter, and then they fight, and then he loses, and it's like it doesn't matter.
He doesn't lose. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Even before we started recording, I keep on saying, first of all, he didn't die. Second of all, he didn't lose.
I know he doesn't die, but basically, he didn't save the girl, which means he lost.
He doesn't need to save the girl. The girl doesn't need saving. What the heck are you talking about?
Exactly. So in the beginning, like in the previous like games and movies, like essentially Ramona gets
Why are you spoiling?
I'm not spoiling. Spoilers ahead, by the way. So like essentially, no, he was supposed to win. So.
You're spoiling to me about like what he should have been like, which this is the only storyline I'm invested in.
Okay.
Anyways,
so that's why it was so crazy to me to see that. I was like, wow, this is some brand new stuff. This is some crazy stuff. Also, I like how they invited like the old cast back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Michael Cera, really, really top tier. Like that's. Scott, Scott Pilgrim.
I only know him as Alan in Barbie.
Yeah, it's so good. Like Alan was so funny, right? Like,
yeah, he's great.
He's so good. Like he's just there,
and a little gay or asexual.
He's just really weird. Yeah,
but he's so
really
good.
Weird.
Yeah, it just feels
so
like
good.
His acting is like. It's somewhat nuanced in a way. Like, you don't know where to, like, categorize him. Like, oh, he's that gay character. He's that, like, asexual character. It's not like that. It's kind of like, oh, wait, what exactly is he thinking about? But then also it's kind of like, oh, you know exactly, like, that kind of, like, human condition that makes people kind of, like, very just nuanced and just, oh, awkward. I'm awkward, kind of. Like,
yeah. No, he's great at doing that, though. Like, he's so good at just being awkward. It's just... so good, man. But I just remember like the original movies. I just watching Michael Cera be awkward as Scott Pilgrim. It's beautiful. It's art.
And also just like we are both like pretty awkward ass people. Like you as someone who has been called slacker for like a long time, like
that was shout out to Joey. He's right.
Yeah. I can see how you would relate to Scott Pilgrim indeed.
What did we... Okay, so basically... Okay, back to the original, like, topic. Which is, we watched the first 3 episodes, by the way.
Yes.
And essentially, this is kind of we're reviewing the first 3 episodes. Took us
This should have been in the very, very beginning.
Right. But
20
it's
minutes
okay.
ago.
It is all right. We just roll with it. And essentially, what happened is Scott Pilgrim, leader, he's the unemployed bassist of Sex Bomb, which is their band name, and they're actually pretty good. Like,
I think
they sound pretty good.
Like Sex Pistols, but yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, that might be it. Yeah, because it was a while back that this came out, originally, but it's been 13 years or 14 years. But yeah, really? Basically, yeah, it's been maybe even more than that actually. But yeah, like he's dating an underaged girl named Knives, and then she's Asian, like she's an Asian girl, and then he falls in love at first sight with Ramona Flowers, and then essentially he gets clapped in one shot by Matthew Patel.
He did not. Okay, again, for the 5th time.
Okay.
He didn't land.
Right. He didn't get clapped. He just got abducted real quick.
Yes. He didn't land a shot, nor did Matthew Patel land a shot.
No, Scott landed a shot. When Matthew Patel came flying at him, he blocked and then hit him.
But yeah, Matthews was not even on him when he was just pulled into a portal, basically. So then he was not slapped,
Right. It's true. But yeah, I mean, and then they have a funeral for him, which is really crazy. And then the League members internally fight. The evil League of Seven, 7 Evil X's, or the League of 7 Evil X's, or something like that, right? Whatever they call themselves. And then Gideon Graves actually lost to Matthew Patel. That's actually so crazy because
that's the second episode, right?
Right, the second episode, right? Because essentially they go 1 through 7, and it gets 7 is a bigger number, so it just gets subsequently a little bit harder each time, right? Because it starts with 1, then it goes to 2, 3, 4, 5, but it completely flips on its head. There's no order anymore. And then it's just crazy. So,
And the fight choreography was really cool.
Oh, super good, yeah.
It's so interesting how they are incorporating anime tropes along with kind of cartoonish and also Indian elements. There's so much going on.
There's Indian elements. Matthew Patel just randomly became the Vajra with 4 arms or something like that.
Yes,
I don't know.
And I wish people can see what you just did. Anyways, but the 3rd episode, it's that Ramona basically realized that Scott isn't, well, even in the 2nd episode she realized that Scott isn't killed, and then she's like, I need to find him, because in her dreams when she's freaking roller skating, and she basically hears Scott calling out her name, and then she's like, where is he must be alive. And so she starts going on this manhunt of I need to know every person that Scott may have known and has a grudge against him, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then, oh my god, the fight in the video renting store was so cool. It's they, they got hit by the shelf of DVDs or I don't know, VHS, whatever thing, and they get transported into a movie with her ex-lesbian girlfriend, and then they just transport through all sorts of different settings, in a plane, in a Japanese setting, and also when people hit play or pause, it affects them. It's just it feels so good because again, there is no kind of lag of people I wonder what would happen if I hit this remote control. No, there isn't any of that. And then there are no reaction shots. That's a big thing about anime. The thing about anime that I dislike, even though again I'm an anime lover from the depth of my heart again, but then it's just something that I dislike as I grew older is reaction shots. the reaction shots are so, like, it breaks the pacing so much. Like, it's not like, you know, the girl who was not Scott's. Is it Scott's ex? It could be. I don't even know. Scott?
Yeah, it's Scott's ex. Yeah.
Anyways, but like the person in the band, like there is no like she hits the button and she's like, or like, oh my god, what does this do? Like there isn't any of that, and then it feels so nice because like in anime, it's so easy to just like, I hate it when like people are speaking and then they only react to it when the sentence stops. Like that's like something that's been irking me for the past like 2 years. That like it's like, oh, you're a traitor. And then, like, it switches to the other character. And then he's like, oh, how could you say that? Rather than, like, you're a traitor. Like, you know? Like, the pacing is so off in anime. Oftentimes, maybe it's because it's directed to a younger audience. Sometimes. But then, or it's just the convention. But then this is so snappy. Like, especially, it shines especially during the fights.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I like where it kind of gave me everything everywhere all at once vibes, where just kind of they went everywhere, you know. They fought in a lot of settings, you know, all at once. But,
sorry to like get into everything everywhere all at once. Sorry, also spoilers ahead for everything everywhere all at once.
Right.
But something that I like about this more than everything everywhere all at once is that in everything everywhere all at once, oh my god, it's so difficult to read that whole name, they have like exposition that is very blunt. They had Alpha Waymond kind of explain to Evelyn like, oh, there are different, you know, universes, blah 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 blah, and then it's like, wait, and like, you know, Evelyn's like, I don't understand what is going on, no, stop telling me what to do. Like there's so much of that kind of like, Evelyn sometimes in the beginning of the movie felt like a stand-in for the audience when we're confused about what is going on kind of thing. And then like she has to be explained too. But then this, like everyone, like even when she, like the girl, Ramona Flowers was like telling the glasses girl working in the cafe like, oh, actually he's still alive, and then like because I heard him in the place the something highway, like everyone just accepts it and then is like, oh, I guess you can keep on going with it. But then it's like, oh, I don't disagree with it. It's like people don't get so just like, oh, bamboozled, like what is going on kind of like reaction, which just it makes the story the main thing rather than like, oh, how do we truly understand the magic system? Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I see that. Like, her reaction was basically, oh, you know, my hopes were dashed. I guess we can't have nice things, kind of. You know? Just like, she just kind of went along with it after hearing that Scott didn't actually die. Well, I mean, it's really fun. And then like they just kind of continue. I still don't quite know all the characters, especially like young, like the little like the guy like waking up in the middle of the night to like find like some demon has like
wrote a script.
Wrote his script. I don't know how that ties into anything, but
well, it definitely will.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So there's like just a lot of scenes that like they're just mysterious, and then you kind of find out later, maybe. But
hopefully,
But we basically just covered the 3 episodes, and like I really like how everything's kind of just really smooth, and just like the animation is really nice. Like the fight sequences are really cool, and then like it's just it's a good time.
I like your wholesome kind of wrap up of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it's just the pacing feels so buttery soft.
Yeah.
And yeah, the animation looks so good. Like the different perspective shots, and even like in my brain, as I was like
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, what kind of like shot do I want to make a thumbnail? I want to do Ramona's like hair bleaching dyeing shot. It feels so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
It felt
why,
like mundane and also just like relatable. And even though I've never dyed my hair, like,
oh,
yeah, it's almost like it's symbolic because, you know, she dyed her hair before going to the funeral, and then she dyed her hair again, like, you know, when she's like determined to find Scott. Kind of like, it's just so little like, scrumptious little nuggets.
Yeah, it's a feels good moment where you just I mean it was very interesting how she dyed her hair a lot as well. I mean I mean it's good. It's just good. And like also, there's just so much content everywhere. It's just very jam packed.
Well, content isn't like the more the better. The more the merrier. It's not like that. It has to be effective. And also, speaking of that being very symbolic, it's like another motif is like the sparks whenever like people fall in love. And I feel like love is such a big, I guess, theme in this show at the moment.
Yeah.
As much as like some
the stupid moments and stuff that like people are like, wait, what? And then like, yeah, I guess so. You know, that kind of sparked the moment.
Yeah, and I feel like as someone who has been in love myself, it's like, yeah, moments do just feel really nice. And then it's like, oh, like that warm, fuzzy feeling of like, oh, sparks are flying. And then it's like, as much as some of the moments in this show are kind of like, wait, really? Like, how did that connection just happen? And do they even freaking like know each other? But yeah, it's like, I like. And then the whole reason that Ramona is trying to find Scott again is because of the sparks between them, like without even like really knowing each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good. What would you rate it now that you've seen 3 episodes? We'll finish
Yesterday,
it later.
when I was still like, you know, sleepy and whatnot, I said 8. And I think that's still like 8.5.
8.5, yeah, 8.5 out of 9. That's pretty good.
Not 9, 10.
Yeah, I would give it around a 9 out of 10 as well.
I feel like stuff. I would need more like an emotional impact to give it like a 9. Like, it has to hurt me in some way, like make me want to cry, to make me want to give it like a higher score. As much as like, I think it's just a personal taste. I like things that like move me. Right now, it's just like, oh my god, it's so cool, it's so entertaining. But like, does it have that soul that really like affects like my worldview, affects like my feelings for these peoples?
Yeah, no, for sure. It is good stuff. So, we'll finish this one. We'll probably put out another episode about this one since it is just that good. We highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Go and watch it.
Yeah, we're not going to waste any of your time, the audience, and any of Anthony's time because he needs to catch the league game.
It is Worlds tonight. It is the finals, actually.
Whoever plays League and is still alive at this point, please comment. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.